I've hit a snag. I found the most perfect, beautiful stone that I want to use for the kitchen backsplash, but the place that sells them is located in USA and they don't ship to Canada. And of course, there's nowhere that I can find in Canada that has something similar to it. I love living in Canada, but as a decorator and a home update renovations gal, it can be hard to find specific materials. But I found a ship that could take me from Canada to the tile place in the US.
Hello?
Hey, do you want to take a boat to USA to go get some good tiles for the backsplash?
Okay.
Okay, cool. Road trip time. Come on, let's go. When the tiles won't ship to you, you find a ship and you go to the tiles. We pack the family into the car for this trip that is going to require a lot of driving and driving and driving. And we stopped to stay the night in the town of Port Townsend, which is such a cute place with so many beautiful historical buildings. It was the perfect town to make a stop in and stay overnight. We grabbed some coffees in the morning and then more driving until we got to the tile shop. And oh my goodness, Floor and Decor has so many amazing tiles. And this is not an advertisement, I was just in awe. We don't have a Floor and Decor in Canada. So after perusing the aisles, we went around the back to pick up our order. They had everything ready to go for us, and it was a really big pallet, over 1,000 pounds, and for a minute there, Nick and I weren't sure if we were going to be able to fit everything into our SUV. We probably should have brought the van for this, but we were bringing the family, kid, and dog, so we just weren't able to bring the van, but we were able to fit all of the tiles in, and it was still a safe weight for our vehicle. So once we were all packed in, everyone was super tired, but we hit the road and we headed back to the ferry to sail home. It was definitely worth it. These stones are absolutely gorgeous. It's going to be the perfect backsplash for the kitchen. Let's talk about this backsplash. Currently, the kitchen has white subway tile, which nothing wrong with subway tile, but it just doesn't have the warmth and character that I want to bring into the new kitchen design. We are going to be leaving the cabinets, the built-ins, the appliances, so being able to bring in a new countertop and a new backsplash to work with the materials that are not being updated is going to freshen up the space. And installing these stones as a backsplash with a German Schmear application is going to bring a really nice French country cottage aesthetic into the room. So Nick is starting to pick away at the backsplash now to take down the old subway tiles. And then here you can see the old pot filler, which was a very modern, sleek design. It's silver metal, and it would look really cool in a modern apartment. But in the style of this house, it is not the right vibe for it. So we're taking it out. Have taken out the old pot filler and we'll check to make sure that there's no leaks and then close it up in preparation of putting up the new backsplash. And then once that is up, then we can install the new pot filler. And let me introduce you to this beautiful pot filler from Kingston Brass. After looking at many different options that they have, this was the perfect design for me. It has the perfect blend of modern and antique. It's an antique brass finish and it has little details on it that give it more character than the one that we're taking out. And let me tell you, this is real brass, and so it weighs a ton. So you really have to be careful that you don't drop it on your new countertops or on your toes when you are installing it. And I have picked out a matching faucet for the kitchen sink, also from Kingston Brass. Let's unbox it and take a look at this beauty. It's also made of real brass with an antique brass finish. It is a transitional style, just like the pot filler, whereby it's a blend of modern and vintage. And that's what transitional design is all about. It's about blending old world with new world. And just like the pot filler, this sink faucet weighs 1,000,000 pounds. I think it's so pretty, and I just can't wait to see it all come together. We have a big cleanup today to clear out all of the debris so that we can start prepping the floor for the new floors to be laid. We need to clean up the kitchen now so we can say bye-bye to the high school gymnasium floors or bowling alley floors. They are coming out today. This would be such a good breakfast area, breakfast bar.
What?
This would be such a good breakfast bar nook, yeah.
Yeah. I know. Well, if you have time, straight basically. Can we go and then more you can stop it right here if you wanted to.
Yeah, so the cushion would be on an angle here, so it'd be straight there, but angle here.
Yeah.
And then just kind of follow this flow around. Countertops have been removed and the new countertops are being cut as we speak, and they will be delivered in a few days. The main thing I need to focus on right now is getting the current kitchen island moved out of the room. Although I think that the island is beautiful, I don't want a painted island in the new kitchen design. I want natural wood for an island. And the wood that this island was made with is not the right type of wood, not the right color, and not the right quality for sanding down and staining in the style that we want. So Nick is going to build a custom built island specifically for this kitchen. So we just need to get the old one out of the kitchen right now, and don't worry, it will not be going to a dump. And we put this one up on Marketplace. But if nobody ends up buying it, then we will just donate it, or we could actually repurpose it and reuse it in another room in this house. So haven't decided yet what's going to happen there. It all depends on if it's going to sell on Marketplace. That would be ideal because then we could use that money to put back into the projects that we are working on right now. But if we can't sell it, then we will be able to either donate it or reuse it on site. With the old island moved out of the way, this room looks so big now. I know that it is a big room, but it really feels huge when it's this open. But it wasn't open for long because right away Nick started framing for the new island. And it is coming together. So what you're seeing here, this is just the inside frame of what will become the new island. It will have a really nice exterior. This is just the interior that you're seeing. So there's going to be a whole other thing that's going to be built around this structure. And actually, when we were starting to put this back into the room here, Nick and I both were like, wait, I don't remember exactly where the old island was placed. We were dumb. We didn't measure the placement of the old island before we booted it out of here. So we're not exactly sure exactly where it was located, but we went and looked at old pictures from the listing from when we bought the house to try to figure out where exactly it was in the room. And it doesn't need to be perfect, but we just wanted to match it up as best as we could. Eventually we figured it out. And if you see this door in the background here, I definitely want to take that door out. It's way too modern. It's not the right vibe. So I'm on the hunt right now for a really cool vintage door that would fit this door frame here. I feel like making zucchini bread today. Well, it's part I feel like it and it's part I have to because the zucchinis are ready in the garden and they're huge. There are some inconveniences living in the house while renovating it. It's not a big deal, but some things are we don't have our countertops in yet. So we've got this nice piece of plywood here. Sometimes things just take a little longer when you're making food, but I will tell you, if you are renovating your house, the first thing to either get done or if you can, just leave it, is to keep the dishwasher power and water connected. That has been an absolute lifesaver, being able to just do dishes as normal. Yeah, hopefully the countertops will get installed soon, but that's not gonna stop us from making some delicious food. And you know how I am funding this home renovation through money that I can make in the creator economy. One of the ways that I do that is from blogging, and I have a couple different blogs. One of them is a vegan food blog. Today I'm working on a new recipe. It's gonna be a vegan chocolate zucchini bread. So we need zucchinis, so let's go out to my garden and pick some zucchinis. I used to stay up till 4 a.m. dancing and partying all night, and now I just do this. I get up at 4 a.m. to water these beauties. These are cucumbers, but I don't know if I have any yet. It's hard to see in there now.
Okay, let's go.
Now I know what you're thinking. If you were paying attention, you heard me a moment ago saying that the kitchen countertops are not in the room yet. And then you're probably wondering, well, how the heck is she doing this shot on top of a kitchen countertop? And the answer is, we just had this spare small little piece that we are ever so carefully balancing on the island. It is not attached. If I were to fall forward and knock it, the whole thing would fall over. But that's life when we are living in a renovation. Everything is a little bit temporary. Okay, the chocolate zucchini bread turned out delicious. Now let's get back to working on the backsplash and put the beautiful stones up on the wall. As a reminder, I'm going for a classy, modern French country cottage style here, but this is my first time doing a stone wall, so wish me luck. Let's get into it. So the first thing you're gonna need is you're gonna need cement board. This is a heavier board that can support the weight of these stones. Put that up on the wall and then mesh tape the joints. And now these stones come with a metal backing stuck to them. This is so that you can put your stones up in an even grid, but I wanted a more natural, flowing, kind of just landed here kind of look rather than a grid. So Nick cut a few stones off of the backing and cut the backing off so that we can create a more natural looking design. And you're gonna wanna use a stone mortar. Wet down the cement board really well before applying the mortar so that the cement board doesn't absorb the water out of the mortar too fast. Nick carefully placed the stone while I stood over his shoulder directing where I thought certain stones should go, but he didn't really need me to do that because he has a really good eye for this kind of thing and he had it all sorted. Once all of the stones are stuck to the mortar and they're up on the wall, wait at least 24 hours before grouting. So what you're seeing right here is me applying white grout. Be prepared because this step is super tedious. It takes a really long time to do this, so don't expect to just throw the grout up on the wall and walk away. This really does take a lot of attention and time. So we spent a lot of time just slowly filling in the holes between all of the stones and grouting over everything. And then as we are going along, we are sponging it off with some water. So a very wet sponge. And we are roughly going for a German Schmear style here, but it's not perfect. We are kind of just winging it, to be honest. I had a vision in my head of what I wanted it to look like, and we were just kind of going for it and figuring it out as we went. So we are constantly putting on grout and then sponging it off with a wet sponge. Get a big bucket of water and keep on changing out the water so that you always have clean or almost clean water as you're sponging off the grout. And as I said, this part takes a long time. You're going to want to work in sections. Don't try to do a big long wall of just grout and then go back and do the sponging. We really blocked it off into sections where just a foot at a time we were grouting and then sponging off. When I woke up in the morning to take a look, I realized I had a problem. Something just didn't look right to me. The color just wasn't quite it. It was too white and chalky looking. You used a white grout, so yeah, you're probably thinking obviously it's gonna look white, but it was too white. I had envisioned something a little more taupe. Well, I don't like the white grout, so let's try and fix it. I then spent the next few days obsessing over different grout colors, and I bought a handful of different bags of grout until, I don't know, my spirit guides told me that bone would be the right choice, which is a beautiful taupe color that I had envisioned originally. So to the dismay of my husband, we suited up again and got ready for more grouting and sponging. We mixed it with a big bucket of water so that it was very diluted, and it was really more of a tinted water, not like a thick paste grout. I then spent 2 days sponging it onto the tiles with Nick, and as we're sponging it on, we are lightly sponging it off with lots of water until we got the color that I was wanting. So once you have everything at this stage, you're going to need to wait at least 5 days before sealing. Sealing the stones is really important, especially in a kitchen, especially behind a stove like ours is here, where you're gonna be cooking and there's gonna be grease. The sealer is gonna protect the stones and make it so that if any pasta sauce or oil splashes on it, you can just wipe it off. And it turned out perfect. I could not be more happy with how it looks in the end. And I really think that this little tweak at the end to change out the color a little bit from the grout was well worth it. So this was a really big job, and for a first time doing a stone wall, I'm pretty impressed with how we were able to pull it together. We're really happy with it. What do you guys think? Would you do this in your home?